All right. We are back here at Song of the Day, coming to you from the Rock Cave. I'm your host, Mark Pierce. It is Friday. You know what that means? Say it with me. It is Octane Friday. And I hope you're with me. It's been a good week here in the cave. Lots of good stuff. Yesterday, Alice in Chains, Jar of Flies. Nothing not to like there. I hope some of you picked it up and listened to it. I know some of you did. And it is good. I listened to it several times yesterday. Oh, man. Music, right? You find good music. I mean, you got your music that you listen to all the time that makes you happy, and then sometimes you find something you never heard before, and you're just like, wow, this is awesome, right? And so music just plays an important part of our lives, at least for most of us. So good, right? So good. So what are we talking about today? Well, so this is what happened. So last weekend I was talking to a friend of mine, Kirk, and he said, Mark, did you ever do Queensryche in the Rock Cave? Now, clearly, Kirk, you don't watch the Rock Cave enough, but it's because I have 650 episodes. I get it. And I was like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, they're one of my favorite bands. Yeah, I've done a lot by them. He's like, oh, did you do Operation Mindcrime? I was like, yeah, I covered that. I did Empire. I did Rage for Order. I did The Warning. Yeah. So he said, well, can you send me the episode? So yeah, so I go through and I go back to my YouTube channel and I forward him the episodes, and then I'm looking for Operation Mindcrime and I can't find it, and I was like, it's got to be here somewhere. And I look, and in the end, I don't know how this happened, but I never covered Operation Mindcrime in season 1. That would have been like a season 1 contender for sure. That would have been like early. This is one of my favorite albums of all time, especially a metal album. And it just seems I meant to cover it and didn't cover it, or maybe I'm missing something, but I don't think I covered it. I thought I did, but we're covering it today because, I mean, again, unless I'm crazy, that's a lot of episodes to go through. I did not see it. So we're doing that today, Operation Mindcrime. How many of you know this record? Hold up your hand. All right, so Operation Mindcrime. Who's Queensryche, by the way? Queensryche, Seattle area, Bellevue, Washington, formed in 1980. Progressive metal band. Before there was such a thing as Dream Theater or Fate's Warning, there was Queensryche. I mean, again, 1980. This is a metal band. Jeff Tate's voice is at his peak from 1980 to 1989 or 90, whatever it is. And he can just wail. The guy can just sing. But there's some serious early metal from this band that is so good. And like I said, I covered a lot of these. But I'm going to say, play Take Hold of the Flame. That's all I got to say from their early stuff. Play Take Hold of the Flame today. And you'll just, you're going to love it. So anyway, this is their third studio album released on May 3rd, 1988. It's a rock, metal, opera concept album. You get it. It tells a story. You have to listen to the whole thing beginning to end. There's just no choice. You have to listen to every single song because it tells a story, right? Considered one of the best metal albums of all time. And it's always on the list, right? So it came out in 1988. Did I know about it in 1988? No. What was I doing in 1988? Like we talked about this the other day. I was either listening to still my stuff from high school, like Thompson Twins and all that new wave stuff, Howard Jones, or I was delving into, I don't know, 88. What is that? That's like, is that Bobby Brown and stuff like that? I was at hip-hop stuff. I was doing plenty of that stuff. But also, 88, I was getting into AC/DC and Ozzy Osbourne. But for whatever reason, I don't know how you'd know about Operation Mindcrime when it came out in 88. Unless you were a pure metal fan. It's not like they were playing it on the radio. It's not like, I mean, I don't know where, it was only because the metal guys were like talking about it, right? And I would never have heard about this until I started working in a record store, a record town in the mall. I highly recommend, if you have children, to get them to work in two places: restaurants and retail. That is where you learn all about life, and that is where you meet all kinds of people, and you learn how to work with them. And that's what my recommendation, that's your parenting advice from the Rock Cave today, first time. But I met a guy named Rob Carr. Rob Carr, I hope you're out there somewhere. Long hair, into the metal scene, and he is the one who introduced me to Queensryche, and in particular this record. And when I heard it, I was just ready. I just went, that's the very beginning of my metal stage, was when I heard this around 1989. Yeah, 1989. And that's when I got into Danzig and all this stuff, right? I went all in. Death Angel, you name it. And then I ended up at Music Outlet after Record Town, and then that just blew the doors open. But anyway, what's the story with this record? We're at 5 minutes. Okay. It's the same old American Pie story of Nicky, who's an addict, and he wakes up in a hospital after being catatonic, and he has no memory or only some memories, getting flashbacks. Suddenly he remembers that he got recruited by this guy named Dr. X, who was running a revolution, and he was already feeling like a lot of bad thoughts about corruption and hypocrisy in government. So, he went and joined up with this guy, Dr. X, who used heroin and mind control to control him and turn him into an assassin, which all he had to do was say Mindcrime, and he would just do whatever he wanted. There's a bunch of characters in here. Father William, a corrupt priest, and then there's Sister Mary. Sister Mary was a teenage prostitute who turned into a nun, and he falls in love with her. So Dr. X tells him, hey, you got to go kill Mary because... you're in love with her, and that's getting in the way of the stuff I want you to do. So he goes to the church, kills the priest, goes to kill Mary, can't, confesses his love, tries to get out, goes to Dr. X, is like, hey, I'm not doing this. And he's like, whoa, you're just going to live your life as an addict? Nope. Leaves, goes back, finds Mary's dead, doesn't know if he killed her or who killed her or what, goes insane, wanders the streets, arrested by the police with a gun, for murders that were committed, and ends up in an insane asylum and wakes up staring at himself, wondering what he has become. That's the whole story. You don't need to listen to the album now. I'm sorry I ruined it for you, but actually you do need to listen to the whole album, front to back, the whole thing. There's some awesome stuff on here. Like I said, this thing, the critics loved it. It's Jeff Tate's voice at its best. I saw this concert. I saw when they did Empire. Remember Empire? When Empire came out, they were like, oh, I want the new Pink Floyd song, Silent in the City. No, it's not what it is. But for that tour, I saw them like 3 times on that tour. I've seen them like 6 times overall. I went to get tickets for one of their shows where they're doing Mindcrime from the beginning to the end. And I saw this cat that I'd seen at many shows, and they did random drawing, and I was high up in the line. And I went back to him and said, do you want me to get you some tickets? And he said, yeah. And then he wanted 4, I wanted 2. And then they wouldn't let me get 4 and 2. They wouldn't let me get 6. So I ended up with seats further back. And oh man, it's every man for himself. Anyway, so what a show this was, and what a band this is. But this is prog metal at its best, and it's like up there with Quadrophenia, Dark Side of the Moon, you name it. What are you going to do for Song of the Day? It's hard to do. You have to listen to the whole thing. But Revolution Calling, I Don't Believe in Love, and Eyes of a Stranger. Those are the 3 highlights if you're going to have to pick something out. And I'm just going to go with Eyes of a Stranger for Song of the Day today. We're at 8.5 minutes. The episodes just keep getting longer and longer here. I'm sorry, guys. I got to keep talking about music, and I can't. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for sticking with me. Operation Mindcrime, I cannot believe I haven't covered it yet. That's what you're listening to today. I know there's fans out there who know this record, but play it today if you've never heard it. You won't regret it, and that's what you got. Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime on OCTANE Friday. Crank it up, and I hope whatever you're doing this weekend, it involves music. Have a good one, and as usual, I'll catch you on the flip side.